Coming up next on Making Moves, we examine the people and technology that help you manage your rush hour commute. We'll meet Mr. Downtown and tell you why he can't get enough of the Skyway. Planning your trip on JTA just got a little easier. And Bill Milnes goes one-on-one with Michael Blaylock as they talk making moves, the future of the agency and his legacy. I'm Joyce Morgan-Danford. Making Moves starts right now. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Making Moves alongside JTA Executive Director and CEO Michael Blaylock. I'm Joyce Morgan-Danford. We'll, of course, have more with Michael in just a few moments, but first, our top story. Rush hour commutes and the congestion that come along with it can be one of the worst parts of living in any city, Jacksonville included. Congestion delays here not only cost us thousands of extra dollars each year, it also costs us precious time out of our day while we just sit in traffic. But technology and the people who use it are helping to make sure our commutes are a little less problematic.
We're still seeing slowdowns now on Butler Boulevard westbound between the East Beltway and Southside Boulevard. That is the scene of an earlier crash.
Every day, WOKV Traffic Director Julie Morgan and the traffic reporters are focused on drive time in Northeast Florida. In fact, as more and more vehicles hit the road, radio and television stations continue to elevate their coverage of our highways to make your commute to work and home safer and quicker.
And not everyone is always aware of what's happening on the roads. So we're here to tell them, this is happening in one place, whether it's the north side, the south side, the west side, no matter where it is in St. Johns County and Orange Park, we're here to tell them what's happening so they can get around it.
Traffic reporters across Jacksonville are able to do their job with the help of technology and the more than 200 cameras that the Florida Department of Transportation has mounted throughout the area. Pete Vega with the FDOT says they have eyes watching all of the major roads all of the time.
We look at it from a standpoint of let's find out where the problems are, let's find out methods of getting that information and then distributing it to the motorists so they can have other options. The goal is to keep traffic moving.
The DOT cameras are ever so important when it really comes to monitoring what's happening out here on the roads. But when they see a hot spot, that's when the road rangers are called into action.
There's never a dull moment, and we never get a break.
We have an accident just after the Fuller Warren. It's in the right-hand emergency lane at Park Street, so use caution there.
We can see and detect the incidents, we can get the message out, but really, at the end of the day, people want the roadway cleared so they can get to where they need to go. And that's where the road rangers become a valuable resource.
The goal is to help those in need, but to keep traffic moving. Vegas says they plan to install another 100 cameras in the very near future. And what's more, the cameras aren't just in Duval County. They're also in Clay and Nassau counties, as well as Gainesville and even Orlando. The FDOT and JTA are on the same page when it comes to taking technology already available to improve mobility in the region.
When we implement things like bus rapid transit, one of the key elements will be that we're going to have transit signal priority on those corridors. So while those corridors will benefit from the improvements in the signalization timing, that improvement that they make at DOT and the TPO's funding and the city's doing, what that does is it enables us to put in additional enhancements in so that we can give the buses additional green time, for example. It means our buses can travel on that corridor sometimes 10 to 25% faster than they would otherwise without the time signals, without that transit signal priority. So there's a great deal of synergy that we could build off of each of those investments from our partners.
Time now to bring in JTA Executive Director and CEO Michael Blaylock. Now, Michael, nobody likes congestion, but we're doing a pretty good job of keeping it down to a minimum as much as we possibly can. But there are definitely still some major traffic chokeholds in our city.
Yeah, absolutely, Joyce, and that's been part of our major focus is to address some of those choke points. And we've talked about it in earlier shows about Butler and I-95. We've talked about Roosevelt and Blanding, and just a host of other intersections that can be quite congested. So I think that that's part of the movement. That's what we have to pay attention to. And you said earlier, time is money.
It absolutely is. And, you know, we've talked about it on this show. We've talked about it so many times about consolidating. When we're talking about the Florida Department of Transportation, JSO, as far as the traffic is concerned, we're talking about FHP, everything in one central location. Is that still a go? Yeah, that's still doable. The Florida Department of Transportation is taking the lead in terms of looking at how we deal with traffic management going forward. And so it's a matter of bringing all those forces together. You're talking about the variable message boards that you see on the interstate system that's giving you direction when there's an accident or an incident. And that can be quite problematic in a number of cases. You're traveling at 60, 70 miles an hour, all of a sudden there's an accident, and you're talking about delays just unheard of. So I think the move to try to do a better job of consolidating the information, informing the commuters in terms of what options they have during those type of situations will be miles ahead. And you know, it really does make a difference when you're listening to the radio and they're looking at their traffic cameras and then they're telling you where the delays are. I even had that incident going out on I-10 when there was an accident at 301 that was causing traffic to just be delayed. When we can get that information and make a quick decision right then to get off that interstate, it makes a big difference. Well, Joyce, you know, congestion is kind of like an open drain. As long as that drain is open, you can have all the water flowing through that drain. But the minute that sink fills up and backs up, then you get all the overflow. And that's essentially what happens to traffic. So as long as people know what options that they can travel, then you can keep the traffic moving forward. Absolutely. And you know, I was talking to Brad Thoburn about the traffic signal priority, the queue jumping, things like that. Those kinds of things really make it, it makes taking public transportation a little more viable, because get out of the car, get on something that's going to be moving quickly. Well, Joyce, that's been our whole emphasis, is that we're not going to solve the congestion problems just with one solution. So we can add as many lanes as you want to add on these various corridors, the Butlers of the world. But as soon as you add those additional lanes, they're going to be congested just like anything else. So what we try to do is give the motorists options. So you have public transportation that you can opt to. You have the traffic prioritization in terms of signal prioritization as you work through intersections. And so when you hear us talk about queue jumping, that's basically moving into an intersection and being able to jump past the intersection through electronics, holding all the traffic back and allowing the motorists and the public transport vehicles to get through, and emergency vehicles as well, to get through those intersections. So it's a matter of just bringing all that technology that you've talked about together, giving people options and keeping the traffic moving. Enthusiasm for the Skyway remains high, and ridership continues to be strong, with more than 640,000 rides just since February, when the JTA made the service free. And while thousands of folks are being converted into Skyway fans, one man has been singing its praises long before the bandwagon ever began. That man is Tony Allegretti. Making Moves' Eugene Lindsey caught up with him recently to talk about downtown and how he sees the Skyway playing a major role now and into the future.
On any given day, if you're downtown, you're likely to find Tony Allegretti. He lives downtown, he works downtown, and he loves it. In fact, he's so passionate about downtown, the Jacksonville Chamber of Commerce named him the director of downtown engagement. There's simply no greater advocate for downtown than Tony. One part of downtown that he's particularly fond of is the Skyway, and he uses it regularly.
It takes me to meaningful places.
Allegretti wants everyone who lives and works in the downtown business district to simply get on a train and go somewhere.
If you're one of the 50,000 people that work downtown, it's really a connector for you too. You know, it can connect to your parking, your barber, your shoe shine. There's at least 90 restaurants within walking distance of a Skyway station. So if you're hungry, it's a great way to travel.
Allegretti, the founder of Art Walk and the Riverside Arts Market, is now combining his passion for downtown and the Skyway into a new event. First Saturday. It's a family-friendly day with events planned near many of the JTA Skyway stations.
We've got things, all types of free events. We've got free classes from Tai Chi to hot hula to we've got bike tours all over the public art and downtown neighborhoods. You can bring a bike or we can provide one with those tours. We've got food trucks. We got a food truck rally. We've got little cafe spaces along the Riverwalk. Very much like Art Walk is a time to go do your excursions downtown. Community First Saturdays is doing that, and that linkage is provided by JTA with the Skyway Free.
With events like Art Walk and First Saturday getting new and more riders on the Skyway than ever before, Allegretti says he envisions a day when the Skyway could one day be expanded as was intended long ago.
Now with the increased ridership and more exposure to it and how awesome it is, I think that just makes extensions even more possible down the road. With all of the outreach that JTA does with Community First Saturdays, for instance, Art Walk, the big events like Jazz Fest, when people get on en masse and actually visualize it and experience it, then we're going to see the numbers really ramp up.
In downtown, Eugene Lindsey, JTA, making moves.
If you want to read more about Allegretti's experiences on the Skyway, check out his blog at skywayreport.com. And now at each Skyway station, new brochures that guide you to dozens of shops and restaurants within walking distance of the station. Those brochures are also available online at jtafla.com. Back with Mr. Blaylock now. Michael, what a great resource to have with Tony. That's a personal testimony, and that goes a long way.
I mean, that is just phenomenal, and his passion. I mean, if you ever been around him, his passion is just phenomenal. And for Jacksonville, that's what we need. For downtown Jacksonville, we need more passionate people to believe in downtown Jacksonville, the revitalization of downtown Jacksonville, and the Skyways are very much a part of that, very much a part of that.
Absolutely, and you know, it really helps that it's free.
Yeah,
It
does, but I think it's just absolutely critical to the overall revitalization, and as more businesses and industries come along the alignment of the Skyway, I think you're going to see even more ridership increase.
Absolutely. You've been asking for it, and we've been telling you it's coming for months. Well, now, after months of testing and tweaking to make sure everything worked just right, the new JTA Trip Planner is live on the JTA website.
We needed a more state-of-the-art application that provides better information, quicker information, more reliable information, but also enhancements in terms of the mapping, the quality of the mapping, the information that's available at your fingertips. So all of these reasons combined, we had to make that upgrade.
To access the new trip planner, just click the link under the Plan Your Trip banner on the homepage. Well, still to come on Making Moves, Bill Milnes goes one-on-one with Michael Blaylock on his 30 years at JTA. Keep it right here.
There's no better place to be on game day than Everbank Field watching your hometown Jaguars. And there's no better way to get to the stadium than on the JTA Stadium Shuttle. Single game tickets start at just $7. Buy your tickets online at jtafla.com, at the JTA Admin Building downtown, or at any JTA Stadium Shuttle lot. The JTA Stadium Shuttle. We've been all in for 18 consecutive years.
Finally, we had a weekend away, and we couldn't wait to see what Jacksonville had in store. We jumped into a cab and cruised downtown. They had a huge jazz fest, and everyone was dancing in the streets. We went to this Riverside Arts Market. There were all these farmers with local fruits and vegetables, and just amazing. We had a private wine tasting, and then we were off to this beer fest, where the locals just took us in and made us feel like one of them. Skyway was a pretty cool way to see the city. We escaped on a water taxi with views that were just spectacular. Then we plunged back into the city for the game of a lifetime. Thing is, we didn't get away from anything. We got away to everything. Have your biggest weekend ever. Visit Jacksonville.
That was awesome.
There's never been a better time to take a ride on the downtown Riverside Trolley. The trolley is free to ride all September long. Plus, just for riding, you can get great deals at dozens of local stores and restaurants. Just pick up your sticker on the trolley and show it at any of our participating merchants to get a great deal. Whether you're headed to 5 Points or downtown or somewhere in between, the trolley's not only fun, it's free. So come on, join us on the downtown Riverside Trolley. Ride for free, then save a bundle at any of our participating merchants. Find a store listing online at jtafla.com.
When you've been around as long as we have, you learn to take some punches. You learn you're not always going to get it right. But the most important thing is to remember why you're here and to never quit trying. When they said we were building the bridge to nowhere, we didn't just throw up our hands and quit. No, we kept going. And when they told us not to build the new road to the beach, that there was nothing out there, we had the vision to see what it could be. You see, sometimes you have to go against the conventional wisdom and trust your gut. It's important to believe in yourself and know that you're doing the right thing even when people don't always share your vision. There are times when our vision has been years ahead of its time. We don't let that stop us either. We keep our eyes focused clearly on the future without ever forgetting the past. We keep planning and moving forward. Nobody has to tell us. We know that people are counting on us to do the right thing. There are people counting on us to build that bridge, to get them to work or school and return them home safely to their families. There are people counting on us to think about their needs. Oh, not just for today, but 10, 20, even 50 years from now. That is what we do. We are JTA.
Back in 2008, Michael Blaylock was searching for a new way to communicate the authority's history, services, and vision to the Northeast Florida community. That's when this show was born. Blaylock tapped award-winning television reporter Bill Milnes from his own staff to help him launch his endeavor. Well, since then, the two have produced more than 50 Making Moves shows with nearly 150 broadcasts. The two recently sat down one last time to talk Making Moves, JTA, and Blaylock's legacy at the agency.
The Jacksonville Transportation Authority has been part of Michael Blaylock's life for more than 3 decades. For the past 10 years, Blaylock has led the agency as its executive director and CEO. But several months ago, Blaylock announced he was retiring from the authority.
When you think about 35 years of public service, I think it's time that I do something different. And so I'm really quite excited that we were able to accomplish what the board charged me to do. And so it's on to other things.
Blaylock says he didn't make his decision lightly. 2 years ago, a medical scare made him begin to reassess his life. It was then, he says, he started to contemplate retirement.
That was a huge event that was not anticipated, and I had never been sick before. So that was my wake-up call, that I had to start thinking about doing something different. The magnitude and the responsibility of a job like this, and any CEO will tell you that, it demands a lot. And so having had that kind of experience and recognizing what's really important in the world, smelling the flowers and looking at the stars at night, the sunrise and the sunset, you start thinking about all those things, and so that played a huge factor in my decision making.
After leading this agency for 10 years, Blaylock said he's proud of any number of accomplishments the authority had during his tenure, but perhaps none more than the success of the Better Jacksonville plan.
I was given the charge when I was hired to build complete the Better Jacksonville plan. And when you add up all of the projects involved in Better Jacksonville, including the authority's capital program that they already had in place, we were talking almost nearly $1 billion of capital activity. Given that kind of responsibility and the fact that we've done it, the agency's done an incredible job of delivering those projects.
Let's talk about making moves. 5 years ago, you had this idea. You wanted to get more information out to the public. Why was that so important to you?
To start educating the public about transportation options and what we're planning now, what we're planning for the future. And then trying to raise the level of consciousness of just how important transportation is to our economic vitality of this community.
5 years later, is it what you expected?
Exceeded my expectations. I had no idea that you would have had at this point in time over 1 million viewers that has tuned in to see this show. Everywhere I go, people stopping me and saying that, in fact, I just saw a gentleman the other day, he and his wife actually planned their time to watch the show. And they like the format, they like the idea of how they can access the information, the website and all that stuff. So, and then everybody don't have a computer.
As to what he will miss the most about JTA, Blaylock says that's easy, the people.
Whether they're driving a bus or repairing a bus or servicing people at our transfer facilities or answering the telephone or running the print shop or all the other areas of designing projects, forecasting, you know, our financials. You just have a lot of good, solid people who come to work every day that really care about what they do. And so being a part of a family of people who really care about this community and what they offer to this community has been huge for me. In fact about it, William, I suspect that all of the folks at JTA will be lifelong friends.
Okay, you've had 30 years at JTA, the last decade as its CEO. So reflect back for me. What do you hope people remember about Michael Blaylock during his time at JTA?
Well, I hope that they would see that I cared and I gave it my best.
At least for now, Blaylock says he's looking forward to spending some time with his family. But one has to think this won't be the last the transportation world sees of Michael Blaylock. In Jacksonville, Bill Milnes, JTA, Making Moves.
There are a lot of people in this community who think very highly of Michael Blaylock, so much so they wanted to tell us themselves just what he has meant to them, this city, and to JTA. Take a look.
He has changed the nature of transit and road construction in this community.
Well, I think Michael did a terrific job there in all of his years, both in his capacity running transit, but also as the executive director. And, you know, more importantly, he's a great person. He's just a wonderful human being. He was just always easy to deal with. His word was his bond. If he told you he'd commit to something, it was done.
It's really advanced regional thinking in Northeast Florida, and I think with the efforts that Michael has put in place, partnering with us in the DOT and advancing some of the transit opportunities, as well as really presenting that notion that we are a much bigger region and should think together as we're planning long-term with transportation. That's where I see Michael's major contribution.
You know, Michael, I think that you're a treasure for our community, that you're one of the few guys that grew up in Jacksonville. You've seen our city grow, and I think that when we write the history of our great city, it will certainly include a volume on Michael Blaylock, all the benefits and all the things, all the people he's helped, the institutions he's been a part of, and how he has moved people throughout the city of Jacksonville.
Michael's vision to get the region connected on a transportation level, because he realized the importance of connecting ourselves, that brought efficiencies both on a cost basis and on a basis of getting people to where they need to be.
Michael, I think, has done an excellent job in the community, for the transportation department, and for the city of Jacksonville. I mean, his heart is in the right place for the community, trying to make sure that transit was there for everyone.
I've had a real close relationship with Michael Blaylock over the years, and I have found him to be a genuine, honest, knowledgeable, informed, maybe not perfect, but we're not all perfect. But he always concentrates, works, and responds. And I found him to be a friend.
I have found the relationship with him as it has grown from being an acquaintance to a friendship to be one where, for Michael, the thought on what he can do on request or on self-initiative is always more than you would expect.
Great public servant. You know, he's had a lot of other cities that have looked to him to see if he wants to go there, but he's a Jacksonville guy, you know, heavily involved in his church, and I like to see public servants with those kinds of personal moral values and moral codes serve. And so I wish him well. I have a feeling he's not going to stay retired for long, but I know he's looking forward to spending time with kids and grandkids and his wife, but we need him back in service. I hope we see him again.
My respect for Michael, as much as it was before I took this role as chairman, has grown immeasurably again during this year. We have dealt with tough circumstances, and I realize what a man of character and honor he is in that process. And those aren't values that you find very often. Michael Blaylock is a gentleman.
And Mr. Blaylock, we are back with what really are your final thoughts for today.
Well, you know, final means final.
Oops.
It's not really final.
Okay.
So I just really want to say just thank you to the viewers and to this community. And Joyce, I've often said being a native son and having had the opportunity that I've been given, it's been tremendous. It's been a great ride. It's been a great tenure, and it's a great organization and a great city. So yep. My final thoughts is everything continues.
Okay, as is, just as you would have it.
Going from good to great.
Okay.
That's it.
That's wonderful. And speaking for all of our viewers and certainly our Making Moves family, we will miss you. We will really, really miss you, but we wish you the absolute best. And I know your family will enjoy having you at home just a little bit more. But we do want you to do one thing for us. We always want you to be sure to watch Making Moves. Give us a call. Let us know if there's some things that we can continue to improve on and continue to grow with.
Well, I have about 5 ideas for the 5 next shows, so I will be sending that to you, okay?
Absolutely, and that wraps up this edition of Making Moves. Be sure to join us in November with our Season 5, can you believe it, Season 5 premiere, and find out who will be sitting in this seat. Until then, you can watch us anytime on the web at jtafla.com. You can also stay in touch with us on Facebook and on your YouTube channel, JTA 904. For Michael Blaylock and the entire Making Moves team, I'm Joyce Morgan-Danford. We'll see you the next time we're Making Moves.